Alright, so this is my guide to HGCM Portal. I will show it from the perspective of Portal 1, but I will mainly talk about things that relate to both portals, and I will show you what I usually do, and I will explain why I do it. So, usually some portals start in putting the portal first, and I like to start on the stack, getting the boons, and then putting my portal. Especially if you are Portal 1, you want to put your portal here. But if the orb is taking too long, if you put the portal at the start of the encounter and the orb is taking too long to get CC'd, you might need to open your portal a bit earlier. So I try to get as much stacks as I can, putting the portal, and I'm also used to killing the crabs on spiral and square. It's a one-man job, but it's nice to have two people take care of it in case one of them screw up. But if you are one man, you want to use Sword 5 and F1 on this crab. You want to use Greatsword 3 and Greatsword 5 on this crab. And you want to use Greatsword 4 and Greatsword 2 on this crab. But important thing, every time the orb touches the white circle, if a crab has died, he respawns. So usually you want to wait until the orb touches the second white circle and then kill this crab. But even if you are killing him a bit earlier, it doesn't matter as long as the push is good. The crab spawns back on square and you don't need to deal with him. And I help with the push and I CC and I take the portal. So now we arrive to Jormag phase. This phase isn't mechanically intensive, so I'll talk about stuff that apply to all dragons, and let's start. The first thing you want to know is that you always want to start with a Phantasmal Disenchanter, because the boss always spawn with boons. The second thing you want to know is that you want to open your portal a bit earlier because they take some time to activate and it takes some time for your teammates to find the portal, especially on Soo-Won 1 and Soo-Won 2 where there is a lot of chaos. So like here the portal is open already, even though I keep DPSing. And the third important thing is that usually on Jormag phase the boss gets its boons when you are doing the green, so you want to start casting Sword 4 to both deal with the chill AoEs and be ready with the CC which strip the boons. So you can see I cast Sword 4 and then I take the teleport back and I strip the boons. In this group we had enough DPS to skip the green, but thing you need to take care of is not to get revealed. Basically from 5 or 10% you aren't using any phantasmal skills and you aren't using dagger 3. Phantasmals are especially dangerous because when they disappear, a blade spawn which can reveal you. So usually dagger 2 and auto attacks are enough. On Greatsword you can use Greatsword 3, and that's basically it for this phase. Alright, so Primordus phase, you start it normally, stacking with the group, ready your dagger 4 and CC. Now important thing you want to take care of is the split mechanic. You want to actively take the split mechanic and actively go toward the boss, because you have both the distortion and blink, you are the last one that goes away from the chomp. And you should always use distortion. If you have it, you have no other use for it. Even if you think you are safe, it's always nice to use it. And especially for Portal 2, but Portal 1 can try as well. is if you have enough distortion, enough blade stacks for long distortion, you can remove the boons from the boss. So you can see me trying here and failing. The most important thing, because you're Portal 1, the most important thing is that you focus on putting the portal as fast as you can, because people need to be ready to take it. Here you can see it more clearly. I go toward the middle, make sure I get the split mechanic, and then I go toward the edge so I don't get the hacks mechanic. And I'm staying on the boss so other people know they can run away and don't wait for me to go first. And I use distortion 5 blades and I teleport away. Here you can't strip the boons because the boons spawn after the raid AoE goes away. So it's just on the first big chomp. Kralkatorrik basically has almost no pointers. Here you stuck with the group, CC and kill the crabs. The only important thing in this phase is to save your big cooldowns and have 5 blade stacks when the boss is almost dying, because you will need the distortion for the next phase. And you can see from around 15% I'm not using any shatters. Timecaster, I will show counter push portal. So from the end of Kralkatorrik you want to be ready to run, because you need to put your portal around here. I didn't do it on this try. And while your job is to put the portal and help with the counter push, it's always nice to help with the Timecaster as well. The most important thing is to use Phantasmal Disenchanter, but if you are trusting your fellow counter pushers, you can also burst the Timecaster a bit. I usually use the Greatsword 4 twice with the reset. I think I do it on this run as well. So I use Phantasmal Disenchanter and I'm using Greatsword 4 twice, and everything is while doing my job, putting the portal and moving to the counter push, which is the most important thing. And here, if you are starting with dagger, or if you're starting here, you're supposed to start with dagger and use dagger 2, dagger 3 and dagger 5 on this grab. And then you want to, after they are all dead, you want to swipe to Greatsword and use Greatsword 4 and Greatsword 2 on this grab. Basically, a rule of thumb is that dagger is good for a couple of crabs and Greatsword can nuke 1 crab if needed. Now, it doesn't happen here, but another mistake I see often from portals and new players is that when there are bees, even if they have distortion, they try to move away from the AoE. But the most important thing is that you use distortion confidently with 5 stacks you save, and you push to the right direction. You can see I use distortion here. And another important thing is that when you are starting the counter push, if the counter push is too strong, you want to hover your mouse over this club and be ready to use Greatsword 3 and Greatsword 5 to push him away. You can see I'm using Greatsword 3 even though I didn't need to, and I opened the portal and I entered the wrong portal. I think both portals did the counter push portal, and this portal of the other player was really bad because it's already on the black AoE. This was my portal. And you CC, and right after the CC, this red AoE doesn't exist. You can walk in here really safely, but this will still kill you. So don't do the mistake, just walk here freely and cleave skull piercers on your way. It's actually really relatively simple mechanic wise, harder on the execution. And the two things you want to note are the fact that Mordremoth gets its boons when right before or when you are jumping, so you want to be ready to boon strip them like here. And that usually you want to save your distortion. If someone dies for a split and you use distortion, you can revive them safely and maybe save them. Also, another important thing, which I don't see enough people in general doing, you want to take care of the snipers. It's really important. Nobody is doing it, and you should do it. You can see me soon, I hope, targeting the sniper. If the snipers are running into the group, it's fine, you can ignore them because they will die instantly, but if they are staying away, you will want to cleave them. And I think we are skipping on the third jumping part, but if you are doing it, you might want to consider using a distortion because you have a lot less space. And that's it for this phase. So now we reach Zhaitan, and the most important two things, at least at the start, are knowing your burst and knowing which skills you can use without facing the giants. I often see a lot of portals just facing the giant, doing their at least as much damage as they can, and then spending the rest of the time running into the green doing nothing. So you basically want to start with Sword 4. I didn't have it on cooldown, so I used F3. And you want to use the only important two skills that you can use while you have to face the giants, which are Dagger 2 and Dagger 3. You can see me using them now. And now is the important part, is that the rest of your skills you can use without facing the giants while running to your green. And the most important skill is Greatsword 4 with a reset, of course. You can see me using the reset, using Greatsword 4 again. You can also use Greatsword 3 if you have a free camera, but it's less important. The main important thing is using a shutter for the buff. You also have to look at the giants to use a shutter. And the rest of the skill, Sword 5, Phantasmal Disenchanter, and Greatsword 4, which are your heavy hitting skills, you can use while running to your green. And you can see my portal friend here taking a lot more time to reach his green because he's now running without using any skill this entire time, you can see, which is a lot of damage wasted. And now you want to put your portal. And another important thing, apply to both Portal 2 and Portal 1, but mainly Portal 1 because it takes longer while putting the portal, is that you basically want to teleport around here with a blink, but if for some reason there are giants here, death AoEs or whatever, you want to make sure you aren't getting the harms mechanic. So if you want to teleport here, but if this spot is taken, you can always teleport to the edge. There is no poison here. You can walk toward the edge, the entire quarter of the circle, and be with your group and make sure you don't get the mechanic. Also, if the giant phase going a lot worse, the healers might need to be need to be closer to your group, which make it harder to kite the mechanic for them. So you want to be really careful to not get it. And the rest of this phase is relatively simple. You want to remember to put your portal after you do the green and open it after the split mechanic happens. And basically here, if you stay a bit longer, there is a boon strip, I think it just happened, but you can boon strip first and then take the portal, and you still have time to run to your green. We read Saltspray. This phase is usually easy if everyone knows what to do, and the commander did a good job telling every person to take care of what they need to take care of. So you want to start with Phantasmal Disenchanter to get rid of the boons. You want to dodge all the AoEs because they apply weakness and it basically half your DPS. And depend on how fast the dragon dies, you want to be ready to help your hams with the crabs. They have one push themselves, which is shield 4, but they might miss it because the Saltspray is doing blind. And you want to help them with the initial push as well, because if you want to get Void Walker, the push needs to be relatively fast. You want, like I didn't in this try, you want to save your Greatsword 5 to push the crabs. And if you see that the crabs are far enough from the orb, you can just push the orb. And UCC, Portal 1 need to remember to put his portal. And you get ready for Soo-Won 1-1. The first thing you need to take care of will come soon, is that you want to open your portals really early, especially in Soo-Won 1 and 2. Once the boss becomes targetable, you need to open your portal already, to give time for your team to get ready for the portal and take it. And now the second thing I want to talk about, which is distortion usage on this phase and on Soo-Won 2. Basically, you have two places which you can use distortion. The first one is right when you are doing the greens, like that. I'm using distortion, I use one stack, but usually you want to have more. So while doing the green, here. And the second one is during the swipe itself. Now, I think that the choices mainly depend on your playstyle. I usually like to play it safer, so I use the the distortion on the green to make sure I don't miss my dodge, and I stay away from the swipe. But it also depends on where your team is going. If your harms are coming on this place, you want to use distortion to be on the swipe so they have more space, or if your quickness fucked up and they stayed here instead of spreading here, you want to use your distortion to give them more space, because it's not really DPS gain to be on the swipe, and you basically, if you have enough space, you don't really lose anything from respecting the swipe. But the most important thing is that you want to use it at least somewhere. If you aren't using it at all, it's kind of a waste, because while you might need it if there is enough damage pressure, it probably won't happen. You will probably get panicked somewhere, or just unlucky, or no stability, and you will wipe the team because you didn't use the distortion here. Now Portal 2 needs to open its portal. Once this attack starts, you want to open your portal already so people can find it. And here I think I use distortion. You usually want to get around here and dodge, because it's easier to dodge if you are facing the wave, exactly. But I think I use here distortion and ignore the entire mechanic. Also, if you are using distortion on the swipe, you want to be on dagger sword and use sword 4, because there is the small orbs that jump on you, and they deal a lot of damage, and they can kill you if you are not full HP. I mean those orbs. But if you're using distortion, you can ignore them entirely. And here we are waiting for the tail slam, because otherwise it bugs the encounter, and we kill. Remember to put your portal as portal 1, and honestly, nothing really special about this phase that you are doing any differently from any other DPS. The only important thing I can think of is using again Phantasmal Disenchanter when you start pushing the orb, because the orb spawn with boons. And from around 15% you want to stop using any skills, and from around 5%, at least on my group, you want to let the guy that does the mass invisibility to kill, because then you make sure no one get revealed if he kills it, because he obviously will use mass invisibility after he kills it. But I'm Moa here, so I don't need to care about it. And that's it for Purification 4. And the last phase, Soo-Won 2. You start with your burst. The most important thing, again, Shatter, Greatsword 4 twice is the bulk of your damage. You want to open the portal, I forgot to talk about it, you want to open the portal as soon as after UCC. You want to, especially here that you can see anything on this fight, you want to let people have some time to find the portal. And once you see this attack, you want to get out of there. And here I didn't feel like I need to use the distortion, so I saved it. You want to make sure you get the mechanic of the bombs, and now you can go toward the edge more. Again, you can see here I didn't feel like I need the distortion for the green, so I decided to use it here. on the swipe itself. But here in this one too, you actually can save the distortion if the damage pressure is too high, especially if you don't kill the Goliath and Obliterator too fast. But on Soo-Won you have no excuse, always use it either on the swipe or on the green. And you can see me trying to get the Goliath. It really helps the humps because they get massively CC'd, especially with the Obliterator and Goliath together. And I usually save my Moa for the second CC on the Obliterator, because if you use, when you start the initial burst, if you use a Sword 4 on both the Obliterator and Goliath, it's 400 CC damage and Moa is 600 CC damage, and the sword is faster. So it's not really a big deal to not use Moa at the start. And here it can really help with the extra damage. You can see that I'm Moa and basically almost soloed the CC bar on the boss. Here again, portal need to be open really fast. This time the portal, it's not me, it's really late. It's just open now. It was supposed to be open like 3 seconds earlier. And you see that I didn't find the portal and I panic blink into the green. I barely got it. And because I didn't have cooldown, I have cooldown for distortion here, but apparently I don't use it, I still respect. And this is basically the fight. If you are less experienced and something goes wrong, you might want to put portal here as portal 1 and be ready to do a third set of greens. But I can show you on this video how it's done, and usually if you reach the third set of green you don't get the kill. And that's the entire fight basically.